Hello, classmates. Filmmaker Joe Black joins the show to talk about his new movie, Suffrage, the dark origins of Ace Ventura, and the gang makes their 2024 Oscar predictions.
Come on, it's time for class.
Class is in session!
Roll call! Bueller?
I'm gonna be late for class.
Bueller?
Am I hallucinating here? Just what in the hell do you think you're doing?
Late for class.
You are mine now. You belong to me.
Did you study for the test?
No more complaining. No more Mr. Kimble to go to the bathroom. Nothing. There is no bathroom.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Middle Class Film Class. I'm your host for today, Joseph.
I'm Peter.
And I'm Tyler.
And we have a very exciting show for you today. We have an interview. We're going to talk about the Oscars. We're going to talk about some other stuff.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
I shaved my mustache.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very tight. It's a very tight mustache.
I also don't want to make a super huge deal about this, but something very exciting happened to me this week.
Oh, cool.
In my 31 years of existence, finally went to the movies alone.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow,
Wait a minute. That's the first time?
That's the first
you
time.
You broke your cherry.
I did. I popped my solo theater adventure
I love
cherry.
going to the movies alone.
I do too.
I like doing most things alone, to be honest. I hate most people, as Dan Day-Lewis would say in There Will Be Blood.
It was like... I was like worried that I was like, because I was asking Deanna if she wanted to come. She was like, no, I don't want to go. And I was like, I still want to go. So
you just went.
I just went by myself. And the weirdest part for me was walking into the theater and walking out alone. But
Why is that weird? Why is that weird?
watching the movie alone wasn't weird at all.
No, different, yeah.
But going into it alone and then coming out alone was...
What movie was it?
I'll talk about that later.
Okay, we can talk about that later. But I do understand that feeling of going into a movie theater alone for the very first time. It feels awkward.
Yeah, just a little bit. It wasn't like too bad. I was like thinking I was gonna have like anxiety going into it, but
Try going into a restaurant, like a sit-down restaurant, and eating dinner alone. That's cool.
that's
I
the
like
next
that too.
step.
That's one that I really.
This next message is going to be for who I know is listening right now, Deanna, your ex-girlfriend, now wife.
Your ex-girlfriend.
Who said,
yes.
I think this is almost a bigger achievement for her because she has severe FOMO.
Oh, yeah.
She hates, even if it's something that she knows she's going to be miserable at, she's like, I got to be there.
I got it.
Gotta go.
Yeah, I didn't want her to go because the nature.
telling her you said that.
You didn't want
telling
her
you
to
said
go.
Let me finish my statement
Okay.
here. Because I know that she would be uncomfortable, and of course, I'd want her to
Due to the nature of the film?
to
or-
do things with me and go to things with me because it's like sappy. But if I can do anything, I'd rather it be also with
This
her.
is an
Yeah,
an
that's good.
evolution in your relationship.
No, this is the relationship.
This is from the beginning. That's how it's been.
I'd rather have her with me than not. So
That's not sappy. That's love, dude. Good for you. We
But
found
yeah,
it.
but I also don't want her to feel uncomfortable if she doesn't have to.
So it was Benedetta. You saw the re-release of Benedetta,
Yeah.
the lesbian nunsploitation movie.
They
from
had
Oh
the,
no.
Paul Verhoeven.
the long-awaited re-release of Benedetta. Yeah.
It's exciting. Good for you.
So,
I
yeah.
mean, almost as cool as my mustache, but I mean, we'll talk to you about that.
Yeah, and I've been growing out my beard as well. And
Intentionally?
Don't you own a trimmer?
I do,
Trim
yeah.
the sides, boy.
No, I'm just gonna see what it comes out to.
You're going for the Willem Dafoe from The Lighthouse.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe I'll go.
Or the Biff Whiff from Self-Reliance.
Yeah.
Whiff, whiff.
Eventually, it's gonna come off, but it's interesting because I've been getting a lot of compliments on it, like just from random strangers. And
Nice
I want
beard.
They know you're having a hard time, so like, I need to give that guy a compliment.
How dare you? That's not
He
true.
looks like he's lost his zest for life.
Someone said you're going for the scruffy look, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if I'm going for the
Well, I
scruffy
am,
look,
for sure.
but
Going for the living in a rail yard look.
yeah, exactly.
I think that's enough beard talk.
Yeah.
Let's get on to the rest of the show. Some gab and chatter.
Find some chirp in ye, lad. Now's the time for gab and chatter.
Gab and chatter, movie news, movie-related things, maybe some interviews.
Yes.
Pete?
Yes, we have a friend of the show who's on the back line right now who is here to promote his new movie, which is the second movie in the Natasha Hall universe. It's called Suffrage, and it just hit Amazon Prime for rental, I want to say a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. So we have on the back line Joe Black. Hi, Joe. How's it going, buddy?
Doing all right. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, of course, man. You're calling in from beautiful Pasadena, California.
Yeah.
Jewel of the West.
Yeah, we're And my neighbor's having a yard sale today without asking anybody in the building. We have problems just like anyone else.
Oh, cool. Stars.
didn't know that
They're
was-
just like us.
I didn't know that was a problem, having a yard sale.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't get to my car. There's too many things in the way.
Oh.
Is it a large scale yard sale or is it like Ghost World yard sale where they're selling ease under the awning?
No, it's actually fairly sizable. He decided to invite his friends and family to come participate in it
To
as
also
well.
sell their stuff.
It's also a family reunion. It's the church rummage sale.
What was that Will Ferrell movie where he like sold everything? and
Everything must go.
Everything must go. So he's going through an everything must go situation.
That movie actually had its premiere in Jacksonville, Florida, where I'm from. And I went to it hoping Rebecca Hall would be there. She was not.
Uh-huh.
That's my only memory of that movie
That was your brush with stardom.
at the time.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Suffrage. It's just out now, and is this the first? I know you've made a number of feature films. What number is this for you?
This is number 15.
Oh,
dang.
Holy moly. And you've made this with your wife, I'm assuming former girlfriend, now wife, and she's in the starring role. She's playing Natasha Hall, and this is so you were telling us before when we were talking on the pre-show that the Natasha Hall universe is like an earnest movie where you don't have to have seen what came before to enjoy what you're currently watching.
Yeah, it's like I took two cues. I took one with the first Natasha Hall. I wanted it to be like Beverly Hills Cop, but it ended up being a little more like heavy than I had intended. So with the next one, I was like, I'm going to make this one a fucking cartoon. It's going to be a ridiculous cartoon. Like my favorite sequels, which are movies like that just go all out. Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, or Ace Ventura When Nature Calls, or Deuce Bigelow European Gigolo. These movies that like they're just like, oh, you like the premise? Good. Now we're going to do whatever we want. But to be able to do that, I had to pick and choose what I would acknowledge from the continuity of the first movie, because the first movie is so heavy, and the first one was set in 1990, and I didn't want to do that again. But so I took the Gary K. Wolfe approach, and he's the guy who wrote Roger Rabbit, who censored Roger Rabbit. Disney, when they bought the rights to the book, they basically just took 4 of his characters and did whatever they wanted with it, ignored the rest of the book. And after the movie came out, he just took what Disney did and took what he liked from that and made a sequel book to his own, kind of just picking and choosing his continuity. So that's what I did with this one. So it follows some of the continuity of the first movie, but it's a complete cartoon in comparison. But I didn't think that was really that big of a problem. It's not like Natasha Hall was like this huge hit that whatever. And as long as we're still doing things under the radar, why not just do what feels right?
No, yeah, it's cool. And it's slotted as a action comedy mystery. So there's it's a political thriller, and essentially the mother of a famous actress gets murdered in spectacular goofy fashion, and a ninja out of nowhere. At least that's how I interpreted it. And then Natasha Hall is hired by the starlet whose mother was murdered to essentially find who killed her mom. And there's a whole political undertone there. Eric Roberts is attached as well, I love to see him pop up in anything. When he says, "It was Ramirez" in The Dark Knight. Classic line delivery.
I actually, whenever I work with a veteran actor like that, I have them sign a copy of my favorite either movie that they were in or performance that they gave. And for him, I had him sign a copy of Inherent Vice.
Oh, it's sick.
And and he said to me, "You've seen this movie?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Did you understand it?" And I said, yeah. And he goes, "Cool. Can you explain it to me?"
I wonder if that was a test or if he really doesn't know.
He told me that on his day of shooting, that halfway through the day, he said to Paul Thomas Anderson, he's "Paul, I'm lost." And then apparently Paul popped up from behind the monitor and just went, "Lost is good." And that was it.
I love that.
That's
so
the
fun.
idea.
Now, and is this the first one of your movies that's hit Amazon? Because I didn't see Natasha Hall. It wasn't on my radar. We started crossing paths after that all came about. And I seen you post about it, but I didn't know what exactly that was. So when I watched Suffrage, I'm like, Natasha Hall, that name looks familiar. And I'm looking back through your filmography. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the one with Kat where she was Natasha Hall in the first one. Is this the first time you had one on Amazon?
No, Natasha Hall actually was the first one on Amazon. We partnered up with a company called Indie Rights, and they put Natasha Hall on Amazon and YouTube and Tubi and stuff like that. And they told us when they started that they've been looking for a detective series. They've wanted one of those. And I just used that as a impetus to get investors. Look, they want another one from us. Let's make a sequel here. And I had 5 investors, and about a week before we started shooting, 3 of them backed out.
Oh, no.
And and the ball was already rolling, so like I was going to make it anyway. Like because at that point I had put too much into it. But originally we were going to be like a SAG project, and we actually had Elliot Gould involved. But then when it became SAG, when we couldn't make it SAG anymore, and he couldn't do it anymore. And thankfully Eric Roberts works financial courses both. He can do both projects, and we were able to. I rewrote it for him specifically as soon as we could make, because I've wanted to work with him for a long time, and especially after he was on The Righteous Gemstones, which is the greatest show on television. I think David Gordon Green's a brilliant director. I don't care what anybody says. I really liked The Exorcist. but yeah, so we actually filmed with him, and the house we shot at that day, this is a funny little, was a house owned by Rocky Morton, who directed the Super Mario Brothers movie with Bob Hoskins.
No way.
Really? Oh, okay.
And while we were there, the director of Tapeheads, Bill Fishman, showed up because he's like a friend of Eric, so we threw him in the movie there too.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
What's it like working with your wife in such a close capacity in these starring roles?
Oh, it's hard. It's very hard because but in like the way that I personally think that filmmakers take it too easy on themselves these days. I actually think that's why movies aren't as good as they used to be, as people say. It's because they're too easy to physically do. They're kind of lazy about them in other ways now too. Back in the day when you had to shoot on film, and when you had on film, when you had to actually take your movie to a film festival where you had to mail even a tape instead of sending a link, the effort that you had to put in that regard weeded out the lazy people, weeded out the hobbyists. And I try to, even though we did shoot this digitally, we shot on the digital Bolex, even though we shot digitally and all that, I still try to, I look at filmmaking as a big responsibility. Even if it's just, I'm asking people for X amount of dollars and X amount of days of their lives to bring something that was in here to life. Like, that's a huge responsibility. You owe it to people, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And so working with me can be a little headache inducing for some people, because I get into everything. Like, everything has to have meaning and purpose and has to make sense. Otherwise, we're just taking it too easy on ourselves. And the funny thing is, my wife is the exact same way. So you would think that, oh, that's great. But no, that's such a personal, it's such a personal journey to delve into something that way. You know what I mean? That there's no room for anybody else when you're tunnel visioning to figure everything out. And so we clash quite often in the best ways, because we're challenging each other. Oh yeah, that's your idea. It better be the right idea.
That's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, and what's also cool is she comes from a theater background. We actually met. She was in a play that a friend of mine was directing, a Robin Hood play, and that's where we met. She literally picked me out of the audience to tease me in character before and we were friends for about a year or so, and we talked about working together because she was really great in the play. Then after about a year, we hadn't worked together, but we started dating, and then about another year later, we made Natasha Hall, and then 2 weeks after we wrapped on Natasha Hall, we got married. And we made Natasha Hall during lockdown, and her restaurant that she worked at reopened the day before we shot Natasha Hall. So it ended. We were shooting 3 days on Natasha Hall, 3 days in a row, working 14-hour days. Then she had 1 day off, and then she worked 3 doubles at a restaurant. And Natasha Hall was being shot at our house, so they just left all the equipment in our house over the week when we weren't shooting. And it was set in the 90s, so we had set dressed our house to be a house from the 90s, all while she was planning our wedding.
A lot of pogs, a lot of trolls, Beanie Babies,
garbage pail kids.
Exactly. Yeah, you wouldn't believe how hard it is to find an old TV in Hollywood. It's actually insane. I couldn't find one for less than $500, so I ended up having to rent one for a month.
Dang.
I know.
You have to rent one?
But yeah, we did. We rented one for the movie. It was a good TV. But on this one, too, she had never done a movie before. It was like a whirlwind for her. And on this movie, we had a window where we could do it, where I had these 2 guys coming in from Norway, Pitt and Raymond, who were going to be able to help us get the movie made for such a low cost. So we had to make the movie at this time. But we knew we were shooting, that they were getting here in December, and we had through early January to make the movie, December to early January. And come Thanksgiving, I still didn't have a script. I just had an idea.
How did you know? How did you know these guys that, in a sense, that they were trusted you enough, not having a completed script, and they're flying in from Norway and stuff? Did you have a relationship with them before?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, they're big fans of Quentin Tarantino. So every time he has a movie, they come out here from Norway and spend like a month out here watching the movie at the New Beverly a million times. And
what a life!
And when Once Upon a Time in Hollywood came out, they came out here and they were kind of hanging around the New Bev. And I have a friend named Bumdog. Bumdog is a homeless filmmaker in the West Hollywood area, and he met them at the New Beverly, and they all wanted to make a movie together while they were here in town. And he said, "If you're going to make a movie in 2 weeks with no money, you need to talk to Joe Black." So he introduced us to each other, and we just really hit it off. And then when I worked on Natasha Hall, when I came up with that idea after they'd gone back to Norway, they actually financed Natasha Hall.
Oh, that's cool.
And
really
built
awesome.
props for it and mailed props to us. And then he also did the poster. Pitt did the poster for both films.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, but on this one, we wanted them to actually be involved this time. Pitt came out and did makeup effects, and Raymond came out and he did everything other than cinematography. He was just an all hands on deck. And so I knew I had that window. And we went to visit my wife's family for Thanksgiving. And on the flight home, I came up with the idea I put all the pieces together in my mind for Suffrage, and I wrote the script. 3 days later, I handed it to her, and 2 weeks later, we were shooting. And so that was another thing for her coming from a theater background. She's used to having months of being able to prep and rehearse. In this one, she just had to dive right in.
You guys are probably just running lines while you're in the shower and she's brushing her teeth for the morning. You're like, let's rehearse, babe.
Yeah, absolutely. I look at filmmaking on the level that we've been doing it as like in a cartoon, when like a character runs off of a cliff and they're just running on air. They don't fall until they like stop and look down. That's when they fall. Yeah. So just don't do that. Just keep running on air.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. Do you want to give a pitch to the audience about why Suffrage is worth their time? And I think it was like a $3 rental or something like that. Very affordable on Amazon Prime.
Yeah. I've made 15 movies, and this one's my favorite. I think that this one comes the most from the way that I see the world. And I think that it's a big, funny, colorful way to explore the idea of getting back to your community. We're about to enter, we're in now an election year, and this movie takes place during a presidential election where the whole world seems to be crumbling because of this election that's going on. But so every time somebody turns on a TV or the radio or whatever, it's all politics. It's all, but down to its, but then this story becomes about Natasha's neighbor's death, essentially. And it is linked to the political outside world, as you'll see watching the movie. But at the same time, what matters more is that something happened to her neighbor. You know what I mean? And what does that mean to do well for your community? I feel like we get bogged down worrying about things we don't have any control of, that we lose sight of things that we can do to actually help in our communities. And I just wanted to make a big, silly, goofy cartoon movie that explored that idea. Because I don't believe in being didactic in your movies, and I don't believe that things have to be serious to be heavy. So I can make a movie like this and have an animatronic skunk in it. You know what I mean?
That was I was laughing out loud when the robotic skunk came out. I know in the story it's not robotic, but was it an RC car you guys built with the skunk on top of it?
Pitt, my Norwegian friend, he built that. He actually bought a skunk taxidermied, and he gutted it, and then he built a cage inside of it and a pulley system to where the tail could pull up, and where you could hook a hose inside of it to spray, and you do control it with a remote control car. And he made the little bust for the face.
Oh, it's so funny.
For it. And I had just written a skunk into a Natasha Hall idea one time, like not even into this script. And then a month later, he sent me a video. I made the skunk for your scene.
Can we use this?
We're not even, I don't even know that we're going to make that movie. So when I made this script, I was like, we got to put the skunk in there. He made the thing. And I actually used that skunk as a bargaining tool. I went to film school with this guy, Joe O'Neill, and we made my first 6 or 7 movies together. And we billed ourselves as the Brothers Joe. But he went off and he's had a very successful career as an art director on and production designer on like live television. But I knew that if I showed him that skunk, he would have to come help out on this movie because there's no way he could resist it. So I did. I sent him that video, and that skunk not only got him
Skunk's
involved.
got pull.
It not only got him involved, but it got him to come all the way out to New Mexico even to shoot those scenes. So
that's fun.
That was one of the best joys, was getting to work with him again, because he and we've been best friends now for over 20 years. And
so you've had a 20-year career of making indie films. That's
my first feature I made it in 2005. So we're getting close.
Dang. Yeah. That's awesome, dude.
It's pretty cool, man.
I was going to say, you don't even look old enough to be doing that for 20 years. So well done. You.
I was very young when I made my first feature. I stole equipment from my film school over winter break, my senior year of film school, and returned it before anybody noticed.
Oh, that's so punk rock.
Love that. Yeah.
Cool. I made a mumblecore musical. That's what I made.
Oh, okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, the listeners, you heard it. Go watch Suffrage on Amazon Prime. It is out now. It is worth your money to go support indie art like Joe Black. And do you have a website you can point the people to? It's Blue Means Pregnant Films. Is that right?
That's it. Yeah, bluemeanspregnantfilms.com.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come on our little show and promote your movie. And I wish you the best, man.
Oh, thank you. It was so nice of you to ask. I really appreciate it. I love this show, actually.
Oh,
yeah,
cool,
I
man.
really
Thank
do.
you.
This is wonderful.
I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, good luck on the next one, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
All right, bye, Joe.
Thanks.
All right.
Later.
What a delight.
I was going to say, when are you going to say the line?
I was just waiting for the disconnect. Yes. Say the line.
I don't know if I missed it or if I totally missed you saying we didn't make a Meet Joe Black.
We did not make him. No, I didn't want to, because in my head, the first time I think of Meet Joe Black, the movie,
You think the ending?
I don't know. I've never seen it before, but I just think of the scene where Brad Pitt gets hit by not one but two cars.
Yeah.
In extravagant fashion, and I don't wish that on Joe at all.
No.
I wish nothing but success. Of
course.
So yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, that was really cool.
It's true indie art.
The indiest of indie.
Yeah, you just meet a bum who makes films.
When he said a homeless
Bum dog,
filmmaker,
right?
Yeah,
like,
Bum
I,
Dog, yeah. Bum
like,
Dog.
I was just like,
That's
holy shit.
Bum
like,
Dog Millionaire.
They're out
he's-
there?
No, that's the lead character in Harmony Korine's The Beach Bum. Bum Dog. But yeah, no, that's super cool.
Yeah.
I always think that it's like the people you know that you attach yourself with, or you're going to follow you on for the rest of your career, life, whatever it is that you're choosing to do with your time. So you meet somebody interesting and cool that makes films early on, and you kind of spend the next 15 years making stuff together, and who knows where it's going to take you.
Sure.
Yeah. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
For you.
No, I relinquish my time. Thank you, Joe, for that.
All right. Tyler.
Alrighty.
What the heck do you have to say?
What
Yes,
the heck?
please.
What the heck do I have to say? I'll tell you what the heck I have to say is that Ace Ventura's script was originally much darker.
Oh, okay.
Which I'm not surprised about that statement, because if you know the original synopsis of Ace Ventura is he's a pet detective. So he's just going out finding missing pets, which, by the way, when I was rereading the synopsis, I was thinking to myself, this would be an awesome job to have. All you're doing is looking for missing pets.
It's like a private detective.
Yeah, he's
but for pets.
he's a PI for missing pets.
Yeah, he is. He's a PI, pet investigator.
And I was thinking to myself, man, that would be such a fun job to do. But I don't think well, actually, you know what? There could be a lot of money in it. But
I'm going to find your dog.
But the success rate is probably really low.
Yeah.
More often than not, it probably ends in tragedy.
Yeah. So
I found your dog, and it wasn't a good outcome.
I found him. He's dead.
Yeah, he's on the side of the road.
Do I get a reward still? So the original draft was much darker and bloodier, with gruesome scenes that were ultimately cut from the final film, aligning with the comedic tone Carey and Shattuck.
That's the director, right?
Yeah, he's
Shattuck.
Tom Shattuck.
Yeah, Tom Shattuck.
Wait, they didn't shoot this. It was just all in the script.
This was just like the first draft script.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, we already know what Ace Ventura is about. This was the first collaboration with Tom Shattuck as well, and it's strange because with the original script, if I didn't read like the actual script, but I read like the parts that they took out, and when you read those parts, it really could have been a cool, dark film about a funny guy who's a
Funny guy.
a funny guy who's
Funny
a pet
how?
detective, and then it just goes completely dark. Just goes completely dark.
I don't want to live in a world where Ace Ventura is any different than it is. I fucking love that movie.
I do too.
It's
I do
so
too.
dumb.
It's so dumb. It's funny. It was at the peak of Jim Carrey's comedic career, I would say.
What kind of stuff was cut out?
I'm glad that you asked that because the initial draft was much bloodier, as both Vinny and Rock, who were, I can't remember who they were in relation.
They were hitmen basically for Einhorn.
They get their heads torn off.
They get a what?
Who gets their head torn off?
The two hitmen.
Yeah, they get ripped off by the hook.
Was it?
And-
Is that when Marino is tied up and Ace? They're like in the.
Their heads get ripped off. This is supposed to be a children's film.
I mean, now
Now
is
it
it a
is.
children's film? He gets a blowjob on screen.
Does
Yeah,
it?
Yeah, after he gets Snowflake, the dog back from Randall Tex Cobb,
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I
and
completely.
she's like, "How can I repay you?" And he goes, "I don't know. Cash would be nice." And she goes, "I'm a little short on cash." And then she starts going down on him, and he grabs the ceiling and goes, "Whoa!"
Oh, yeah.
As a child, you don't know what that is.
the 90s were a different time.
And then they have sex for hours.
Hours.
Yeah, because they play In the Jungle with Courtney Cox.
That's right. Yes,
And
that's
all the
right.
all
I
the animals
completely
are
forgot about that.
vibing to the boning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And she says something.
cheering him on.
She says something along the lines of, "Hey, 7 times," and he goes, "I don't know what's got into me. I'm usually better." And in my head, I was like, "What's happening in it?" I was like 9.
Better at what?
I know.
Yeah, so yeah, heads getting ripped off. The sex scene I completely forgot about. So that's
In the original draft, it was a BDSM scene. Apparently,
Oh, yeah.
it was a darker version.
Yeah, the darker version. Most of this outlandish behavior can be traced to Carrey's desire to go for broke. He goes on to saying, "I wanted to keep the action unreal and over the top," which it is over the top. And the action is over the top as well, I can imagine.
It's an over-the-top movie.
He goes on to saying, "When it came time to do my reaction to kissing a man, I wanted to be the biggest, most obnoxious, homophobic reaction ever recorded. It's so ridiculous, I can't be taken seriously, even though it guarantees that someone's going to be offended."
Oh yeah, the Gen Xers or the Zoomers are pissed off about that.
Yeah.
Boomers. Nah, the Boomers don't care. The Zoomers,
Why
Yeah.
the Zoomers?
look at the young kids. They
Why do
don't-
the young kids care?
because he's on its homophobic scene.
Yeah.
He kisses.
wanted-
He realizes that Einhorn was Finkel the whole time, and they play the Crying Game theme song,
Yeah.
and then he like plungers his face and burns his clothes and cries in the shower.
Oh, I see.
because he kissed a man.
Yeah.
It's a,
That's interesting. I didn't think they were going to be. I think there's going to be commentary about the homophobic kissing scene in that, but that's funny.
yeah, it's interesting how Ace Ventura: Pet Detective could have gone into like a completely different direction.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself while I read that article, could you make a dark Ace Ventura: Pet Detective and have it be successful and have it with it being starring Jim Carrey? Like maybe there's a room for a soft reboot or a sequel
Let that
it-
shit die.
Yeah.
Never.
You're probably
Don't bring back Ace Ventura.
you're probably right, but like I was also thinking to myself as well. We haven't had a good noir movie. Chinatown. We haven't
We haven't had one of the greatest noirs of all time in a long time.
We need a new great. But
They had. It's called The Kid Detective. I told you. Have you watched it?
The Kid Detective.
Have you watched it?
No, I haven't.
Look, a fake fan.
But fake fan of what?
Fake fan.
Is
of
it a
noir.
noir movie?
Yeah. It's
Like,
it's
like traditional noir.
a neo noir because it's
Oh,
in color.
neo noir.
Then you could say not really.
What?
2049. Blade Runner, the
Yeah, that's-
original, is
yeah,
a
for
noir
sure.
is a noir movie.
Oh, I
But-
guess so.
but
Yeah, that was a
2049
really great movie.
is not really a noir movie.
It has a lot of noir elements.
Yeah, but I wouldn't call it a noir movie.
When he's cursing his life in the snow. There's a lot of details to that movie that it just goes way over my head. I was listening to a video talking about hidden details in movies that you didn't know about. And that scene takes place in June or July or something like that. And it's supposed to be in LA and it's snowing,
Yeah.
which shows to just how decrepit the world has been and how bad
climate
the
change.
climate is. Yeah.
Just look at San Diego right now. in our modern time.
Hey, Joe Bridges, I know you're listening to this. Please, you gave me the list of great noirs. You got anything from the last 10 years that Tyler can watch besides The Kid Detective, which is just a version of a noir? It's more of a mystery than a noir.
Actually, I want to tease something.
Yeah.
Tease.
I realized I haven't been watching movies a lot recently.
The last 4 years.
Yeah.
That's not true at all. How
Last
dare
30,
you.
31 years of your life.
Yeah, 30 years of my life.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
I'm thinking about doing like a list, like a top 10 list of my favorite Kurosawa movies.
Have you seen 10 Kurosawa movies?
I haven't seen any.
Okay.
So that I haven't seen any.
So you're going to
but
watch 10 and then rank them in order?
I'm just going to watch all of them and then I'm going to rank them.
You're going to retire. You're going to be 60 years old by the time that happens.
Wait a minute, is it that much?
He's got like 50 movies.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well,
Why'd you go to Kurosawa?
because he was the inspiration to the original Star Wars and
Hidden Fortress, the movie.
yeah, Hidden Fortress. That's what piqued my interest. And then also I was thinking to myself, like, you know what? I really should just get out of my comfort zone and just watch some. I think they're streaming on. I think all of them are streaming on the HBO. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought it was the Criterion channel for some reason.
Probably that too, but have fun.
I don't know. All of his movies are on Criterion. Maybe they are. I don't know.
I was wrong. Kurosawa has made 33 movies.
So still,
I have a fighting chance.
You'll finish it when you're 52.
I have a fighting chance. But anyways, that's the only news story that I have, and I didn't really have any discussion prepared.
That
so.
sounds great.
Okay.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
The Ace Ventura, where two people get decapitated. Didn't make it to screen. Jesus Christ.
But the transphobia, homophobia stayed in.
That made it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
The blowjob scene.
Oh yeah, and the cartoonish. Bruce says that you should just do the Criterion challenge.
That's actually not a bad idea.
What's a Criterion challenge? I never.
It requires you to watch one movie a week. May not be possible for Tyler.
That's
a big ask.
Yeah, that's a
tall
big
order.
ask. That's a tall order. Yes.
I still don't quite understand the Criterion challenge. I've read the rules multiple times, but still don't quite get it.
They give you a set of rules, and it's not like you have to watch these 52 movies one a week for the entire year. It's like you have to watch a movie that's somewhere between spine number 1 and spine number 350 this week. Of all the Criterion releases, they are numbered spine number 55 or whatever. 888 was Stalker. Always remember that just because it's weird number. And it was in the trivia for some reason. Number 888. Cool.
Nice.
Yeah. But that's so you can pick of 1 out of 350 movies, or Bruce just watched one that was, pick a movie that's filmed in Technicolor that's on the Criterion list.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
There's that kind of parameter.
yeah, there's specific parameters for it, and it just gives you a little flexibility while still trying to keep you focused on the Criterion releases.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Bruce is doing it. There's a couple other people on the Cinematics Facebook group that are doing it. I thought about it, and I was like, I can't commit to that. I got too many other lists.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
It's a lot. Maybe I'll do it passively.
Yeah, I'm living my life through Bruce. I'm just like, yes, that sounds like a great movie. I'm gonna write it on my letterbox. Bruce's review, 5 stars.
Okay, so my news story. I want to do Oscars nominations have come out.
Yeah.
I don't know when they're airing. Maybe I should look that up. But I want to do some predictions from all of us.
Okay.
Not all of the categories because not all of us have seen all of the documentary shorts and all the documentaries and all of.
Yeah, no.
So we'll just do the heavy hitters. But before we get into that, I want to briefly talk about some controversy that came out of the nominations, specifically for the Barbie movie.
The world is in a tizzy.
And there's a lot of mixed feelings out there about how we feel about the nominations. And I guess I'll just ask you guys what you think and just give a simple maybe yes or no answer. Do you think that Margot Robbie was Margot robbed?
Oh, very nice.
I can tell that you wrote that on the way.
I just thought about that. Literally, I just thought about that just now.
Margot Robbie was Margot robed.
Oh, geez.
All right. I don't know. I have a complicated opinion about it because there's 10. I know you asked for yes or no, but there's 10 movies for Best Picture and there's 5 for every other category.
Yeah.
Of the other 4 people or the other 5 people, who would I kick off? I don't know. It's really hard to say. You can't just be like, this movie is so successful and it was the most popular movie in the world. And yeah, she was the lead of it and she did a great job, so she should be it. If there's a more fierce group of competitors and they got nominated, is what it is. I don't necessarily think she got robbed, to be honest.
Okay. Tyler, what do you think?
The problem is that I haven't seen any of the movies that
You could just stop at that, any of the movies.
I actually haven't seen any movie ever.
But it looks like maybe she did.
I don't even know why I'm on this show.
It's going to be weird to be talking about Howard the Duck when you haven't seen it yet.
Wait, what? But I think she did an excellent job in the movie. However, just because I haven't seen any of the movies that is in the category for lead actresses, like it's hard for me to say yes or no. What I will say is that she did an incredible job. She did an incredible job.
How about this then? Do you think that her performance was Oscar worthy?
I think
They just added 6 slots now.
I think it again. Yes, I could. If I was
Tyler, give an answer.
if I was a judge, then I would say yes. She definitely is deserving of a nomination. I don't know if she deserves the win.
What about you, Joseph? Do you think was she snubbed? Did she deserve an Oscar? Is it an Oscar-worthy performance?
I don't think so. I don't think so. And people will maybe read that and be like, you think she sucked, huh?
People are
No, I don't think she sucked at
seething
all.
right now.
Now,
Joseph Navarro says Barbie sucks.
I think that because everybody is like comparing, Ryan Gosling got the nomination, but Margot Robbie didn't. And so but they're not even in the same category. It's like it's not like he got nominated over her. It's that he got nominated for his performance. But if you were to
because he was supporting actor, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you were to put them 2 together in the same category and just have a co-ed acting category.
Now that's equality.
Ryan Gosling did the more memorable, and he was acting of the 2 of them. Like he was doing the more standout performance of the 2.
I honestly think that neither of them should have got nominated. I don't think Gosling should have been nominated.
It is. I don't think he'll win at all. But
I can't think of the Barbie movie without thinking how perfect Margot Robbie is for it. I don't know how much of it is just she looks like Barbie and it's very like a picture perfect representation, and how much of it is her performance. Yeah. And Ken, I don't necessarily even feel like he looks so much like Ken. I can't think of anybody else. Maybe like a Zac Efron if they stretched him out before you put on all the muscle mass and head mass for the Iron Claw.
Iron Claw, yeah.
But real quick, I can't think of her. I can't think of the movie without thinking about her, but I don't necessarily think that she was doing anything revelatory,
like overly remarkable.
That's a good point.
And Ryan Gosling was the fun, in my opinion, the funnest. He was like the nice change of pace. But it's almost like you have so much sweet in this dish, and then you take a bite of savory, and you're like, "Ooh, I remember that. I'll remember that bite." In that overwhelmingly sweet dish.
I think my biggest problem with the Oscars is Greta Gerwig not even getting a nomination for Best Director, because I thought that movie was very well done.
Again, Best Picture, 10 categories. Best Director, 5.
So I think that I lost my point, but yeah, I think that I don't know. I feel like they're like the people, the clamor and all the talks is like, I can't believe that Margot or Greta didn't get nominated, and they're just focusing on that when they're not also naming that America Ferrera was nominated.
Yeah, good for her.
Like they're completely ignoring that part of like it was like it's like does her nomination not matter at all? And also again I lost my point, but with Ryan Gosling being nominated in their mind over Margot Robbie, they're not also thinking about that he was written by a woman. His character was written by a woman. It wasn't like a man got a nomination for being a man. He was written by a woman in a movie directed by a woman.
Oh, so it's like a misogynistic sort of like argument.
That's like the surface level. That's the surface level take that people on TikTok are taking from it.
It's easy to have a knee-jerk reaction about that. And I don't think that anybody's opinion is wrong either, because at the end of the day, it's all opinions. There is no right answer to who the best actor is or the best director or whatever.
Yeah, art is subjective.
Bruce is in the chat. He says he says the same thing. Real question, should Gosling be up there, not Robbie?
Yeah.
And he says that Charles Melton should have been in Gosling's place for May December. He's the younger or the husband.
Probably.
And he says that Gerwig is the bigger snub, just like Tyler said, that she should be up there instead of Nolan, which, Bruce, love you, preposterous. Preposterous.
What I will have to say about
Oppenheimer is a gem.
what I will have to say about the Barbie movie is that Barbie, yes, it was a very well done movie. It was a Herculean task to take that trademark Barbie to make it into a very good film. And so I feel like just on that merit that Greta Gerwig should have at least, like, she did get awards and stuff like on
when the
other
and both
circuits.
actually, Margot Robbie is nominated as a producer
Because she's a producer and so is Gerwig.
Yeah, as for screenplay.
Yeah. So I think it's, I agree with you. It's a little bit overblown, and it's like what Pete said. It's a knee-jerk reaction, like when you hear that. However, I think Greta Gerwig is an incredible director, and she deserves an Oscar.
She had her first two movies were nominated for Best Picture.
Has she won for director though?
No, she hasn't. Lady Bird and what was the other one? Little Women.
Oh yeah, Little Women. Yeah,
nominated for.
I fucking love
Best
Little
Director.
Women. It's such a good movie.
Did she do Frances Ha too?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so not first two movies. Her last two movies.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That's that.
I think
That's that.
I think honestly, the best part about the Oscars is this discussion, because I see eye to eye with Bruce on almost everything, on when it comes to our tastes and whatnot. And my first reaction was exactly that: is like, man, this almost seems like an SNL sketch where they're like, oh yeah, the only Oscar nomination for Black Panther was Andy Serkis, the only white actor in that entire movie. I think I saw somebody say when the Oscars were getting teed up, they're like, the Oscars has the opportunity to do the funniest fucking thing right now and nominate Ryan Gosling only. And then they fucking did it. But it's this discussion and this give and take and this push and pull. This is my favorite part about the Oscars.
Oh, that's awesome.
it's funny. Cool. So I want to get into some Oscar predictions now, and you can cut this part out.
Okay.
Because I'm going to introduce it like it's its own video.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Middle Class Film Class. We're going to do some Oscar predictions for the 2024 Academy Awards. And we're all going to have a spreadsheet here that you cannot see.
Okay.
And I'm just going to go down. We're going to go to just best animated movie. We're not going to do any like best production design or best sound design or anything like that.
Okay.
And we'll just go one by one. Pete, starting with the big one, Best Picture. Your nominees are American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. And I assume I haven't seen all of the movies. Have you?
No, I haven't seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I haven't seen 6 of these 10.
Well,
I've seen 4 of them.
Which one do you think is going to win?
As far as who do I think is going to win?
Yeah. Or what do you, I guess you could do your
Yeah.
own parameter. What do you want to win versus what do you think is going to win?
That's interesting. I would love to see Barbie win just to shut everybody the fuck up.
You want me to put that? Barbie?
Yeah, that's what I want to win. I'm going to say
Okay. Your prediction.
my actual prediction.
You're putting money on this.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. There's a financial stake at this?
Yeah.
I'm going to say Oppenheimer because of the people who are voting on the Academy.
Okay.
Yeah. I would love it.
Tyler, what do you think's going to win?
All right, so best
You've seen
picture
all of
is-
these.
I have. No, I haven't. Come on, everyone knows me. Okay, so we have American Fiction, The Zone of Interest, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Poor Things.
Who are
Past
you
Lives.
summarizing this for?
I read this already.
Who are you summarizing
I
that
know,
for?
but I'm just
Just for yourself?
it's just for myself.
Okay.
Oh, you've seen 2 of these. You've seen Barbie and Past Lives.
Oh, that's right.
You have to, oh yeah, you did see Past Lives.
I don't think Oppenheimer has a chance because it's a pretty loaded list. I'm gonna have to go with Killers of the Flower Moon. I think it's in the bag.
You're saying that's Scorsese's best film he's ever made.
I'm not saying it's his best film that ever made.
Shutter Island.
Or
The Departed. What did he win for? Did he win for The Departed?
Yeah, he went for the.
Okay, my bad.
The Departed.
The Departed won or he won?
Best Director.
I don't know.
I don't know. It
Who
doesn't-
won?
I know The Departed did win an Oscar for something.
That's my favorite Scorsese movie.
It's
At me, internet.
Ooh.
Departed.
What I think is going to win, I'm going
Yeah.
to say Poor Things.
That was my second.
is
second place.
that just because you just saw it recently?
I'm gonna say
No.
that. I'm gonna say that was because there's a chance.
It's recency bias.
I think there's a chance with that, just because Everything Everywhere won.
Yeah.
And that shows that a weird ass movie can win Best Picture.
That's a great point.
I also have
That's a great point.
a feeling that Anatomy of a Fall or Zone of Interest has a good shot. But
That's what I was thinking too. I almost said Zone of Interest.
but when you think like Barbie and Oppenheimer and that whole phenomenon, it's like I feel like Barbie has a pretty good chance as well.
We'll see.
All right, best. Let's go on to best director. Let me pull it up here. Directing, we have Justine Triet from Anatomy of a Fall, Martin Scorsese, Christopher Nolan, Yorgos Lanthimos, and Jonathan Glazer for Zone of Interest.
That's a tough one. I'm gonna go Jonathan Glazer.
Jonathan Glazer.
Yeah.
Glazer. I don't know.
Glazer, Michelle.
Jonathan Glazer. Tyler.
I'm gonna go with Yorgos.
Yorgos.
Yeah, I think he has it. I think he has it.
He has it in the bag.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Nolan.
Nolan Stan.
I think he is due at this point.
Wait a minute, he hasn't won it. He hasn't won an
No.
Oscar. Wow.
The only bigger Nolan fan we have amongst us is Bruce.
Going on to actor in a leading role, we have Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Coleman Domingo for Rustin, Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, and Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction.
I'm gonna go Giamatti.
Paul Giamatti. Yeah. All walleye. Tyler.
I think Cillian Murphy is gonna get it.
It's pronounced Cillian Murphy.
Oh, Cillian Murphy. Sorry, my apologies. I know Murphy is he's a big fan.
I will also say Cillian Murphy. I think he will snag it.
That scene where he's sitting naked in the chair. Mwah.
I know.
Literally me.
Yeah.
He had to have he had the privilege to have a sex scene with Florence Pugh. Like, Jesus Christ.
From your point of view.
Yeah.
Best actress in a leading role. We have Annette Bening from Nyad. And Lily Gladstone, the first native North American to be nominated for Killers of the Flower Moon. Sandra Hüller from Anatomy of a Fall, Carey Mulligan for Maestro, and Emma Stone for Poor Things.
Good. Oh, that's tough. Poor Things is a very opposite. It's very opposite Academy type of feature, and her performance, from what I've seen, because I haven't seen the movie yet, seems like it's out of left field for them. So I'm gonna go Anatomy of a Fall, blind pick. Sandra Hüller.
Sandra Hüller. Sandra. And her name was
They called her
Sandra. Tyler.
From what I've seen, I haven't seen Poor Things. I've seen scenes of it though, and
You're going Stone Bone.
they're really great. So I'd have to say Emma Stone. I almost said Carey Mulligan, but I think
She's really good in that.
I think Emma Stone. Like I think
Carey Mulligan
Yeah.
in Maestro.
I guess.
She is the best part of it.
Sure. I think that nose is the best part.
I will also say Emma Stone.
Because wow, huh?
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, wowzer.
Best supporting actor in a movie.
Okay.
In case you didn't
What's
know.
our options?
Sterling K. Brown from American Fiction, Robert De Niro from Killers of the Flower Moon, Robert Downey Jr., Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling, Barbie, and Mark Ruffalo. Poor Things.
I'm gonna go Mark Ruffalo. I hope the rough man gets his Oscar. He's great, underrated.
Yeah,
But it would be funny to get Gosling up there to do a bit. Say something snarky about the nominations.
Tyler.
I think so. I was reading history on Robert Downey Jr. about how he's glad that he didn't get the Best Actor award for Chaplin. And I think it's going to be Robert Downey Jr. He was snubbed like a couple of times actually too.
I know, Tropic Thunder.
Yeah,
know,
Tropic
for
Thunder.
real.
Yeah, so I think this is his coming up nits,
All right.
Nice. Coming up, Nits.
however you say it.
Come up and
Come up nits. I don't give a shit.
I am between a couple people here, Robert Downey Jr. and Mark Ruffalo. I think Robert Downey Jr. is going to win.
I just don't think he was doing that much in the movie. He was fine. He was
Yeah.
good. He did it right. Mm-hmm. But I never thought I was looking at anybody except for Robert Downey Jr.
I want Mark Ruffalo to win, but I think Robert Downey Jr. will win.
We shall see.
Supporting actress in a movie. Emily Blunt in Oppenheimer. Color, Danielle Brooks from Color Purple. America Ferrera from Barbie. Jodie Foster in Niad. Divine Joy Randolph from Holdovers.
Uh-huh. I liked Divine Joy. Emily Blunt was fine. I don't think America Ferrera deserves it, so I'm going to go Danielle Brooks because I haven't seen it. It's a wild card for me.
Danielle Brooks.
Yeah, Danielle Brooks.
Tyler.
I want to say Jodie Foster because
Say Jodie Foster.
No, I'm not going to because I don't think she did. I think it's gonna. I actually think America Ferrera is probably in. That's my pick, America Ferrera.
America Ferrera.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think she deserves it.
My problem with her performance, and again, it's not bad, but if I'm nitpicking about choosing who's the greatest performance of the entire year in this category, she had one really good monologue that they played over and over again that was it diminished the
message.
Yeah, it diminished the impact of it. Great message,
okay.
But it diminished it a little bit.
Okay.
Kind of watered down.
I thought the monologue that was my deciding factor.
Go ahead. I'm gonna have a comment from the chat after this.
Let's do. Yeah, I don't know. Emily Blunt was okay. Robert Downey Jr. She's not.
Yeah, she's there.
Not super prominent.
She's fine.
She's acting.
She's sad when she's supposed to be sad.
She's sad and angry.
She's angry when she's supposed to be angry.
Yeah.
Other times she's there.
She hates Safdie. She hates Benny Safdie.
Who could?
I'm gonna say. I'll say Divine.
Okay.
Divine.
Mitch Burns says Mulligan is the best part, and Lily Gladstone will win Best Actress. And he also says, I want Ryan Gosling to present with Margot and Greta. And the voiceover person says something like, presenting the award for Best Actress is Ryan Gosling from Barbie and 2 other people who were involved in that project.
Okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
Our final category here. Best Animated Feature Film. We have The Boy and the Heron, Hayao Miyazaki. Elemental. I think it's a Pixar movie.
Yep.
Nimona, and Robot Dreams, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Ooh.
My dark horse pick is Nimona, but I'm not picking that. It's a lock for Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Up across.
Academy loves cliffhangers. And they love half movies.
Yeah.
Tyler, your favorite category.
That's great for the audio. Great for the audio.
Sorry. So I have not seen
I've never heard of Robot Dreams.
Any of these movies.
Spider-Man movie. I've heard really great things about it. Like it's like
From your 2 best friends.
a near perfect movie.
You heard from your 2 best friends, then you said, shall never watch that.
I
movie."
hate Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, where's Batman?
I only care for Batman. I think The Boy and the Heron is gonna clinch it.
That's an on-brand pick for you.
The Boy in the Heron.
I think
He's due.
Miyazaki. I think he's gonna. He Jesus Christ, the masterpieces that he has made.
They're not grading his career. They're grading this movie.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You can get a point there.
I also will say Across the Spider-Verse because it deserves.
Because of the movie.
Because it deserves it.
Is there any stakes in this, or are we just farting around?
You won't know until we get the results back.
Yeah, we'll come up with something.
Son of a bitch.
You have to watch the Hip Hop
Son of a
Witch.
bitch.
Yeah. Okay, so
Cool.
All our best pictures are Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, and Poor Things. All right.
We should upload this to the Facebook page and see if anybody wants to add their guesses in. They could be in the listener roundup or whatever.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
That's
Awesome.
all I have for Gab and Chatter. Let's move on to some streaming picks.
Movies.
Wanna watch a movie?
Yes, indeed.
Disney Plus, HBO Max.
If I don't get the pick, show's over.
I have grown accustomed to Hulu Plus.
Amazon Prime.
I like Netflix.
You found the pick.
Stream picks. Okay. Movies that we watched on streaming services that we will recommend or not recommend to you. Pete.
Okay.
It's been 2 weeks, right? Since
Yeah.
we last recommended movies.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through a couple of movies that I'm just gonna verbal diarrhea out some movies that I watched that I don't really want to talk about, 'cause good or bad, some are middle of the road. Maybe just do some rapid fire. Ghost Dog: The Way of the Samurai, Jim Jarmusch movie.
Yeah.
Watched it with you. Did not like it all. There was so much potential for it, and it was like the whole time I'm like, what the fuck is happening with this movie? When's he gonna kill someone with a sword?
Yeah.
It never happened. He's carrying it around. He never does anything with it. It was something. I watched that was I think that's streaming on Max, I believe, maybe Showtime. I don't know. Look it up. Justwatch.com. These are not worth your time so much. The Blackening, actually really fun, sort of slasher comedy mystery sort of movie, whodunit movie. I thought that I wasn't sure what to expect with that one because the trailers didn't make it look too great, but it was actually pretty fun.
Okay.
The Blackening, and that came out in 2022. I watched Beverly Hills Cop for the first time, the classic.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah.
And it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I see it's like really high on like the 5-star ratings on Letterboxd, and I don't necessarily see that. I think Axel Foley, the character, is pretty damn fun, and the way the movie is written is pretty good because he's in Beverly Hills. He's been in Beverly Hills trying to solve a murder, and he can't let the police department in Beverly Hills know that he's there to solve the murder, so he's like gaslighting them into believing he's there for just like on a vacation or whatever while he's secretly solving a crime.
Yeah.
Rush Hour, Jackie Chan's character.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it was pretty good. Let me see where that's streaming real quick. Just watch. I don't have my notes on these. I'm a little over the place, so I apologize. Yeah, it's got a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. This is streaming on Showtime, Netflix, Paramount, and Fubo. So you can get this just about everywhere. And they're doing a series. It's called Beverly Hills Axel Foley or something like that.
Yeah, it's, the new
It's like a
movie.
new...
Is it a series?
I think it's a series. Maybe it's a movie, but either way, I thought that was interesting. And then I watched a classic from 1973 called The Sting with Robert Redford. And that one I do want to spend a little bit of time talking about. Yeah, I talked about the last picture, Paper Moon, I'm sorry. Paper Moon.
Paper Moon.
A little while ago, it was one of my streaming picks with Ryan O'Neal and Tatum O'Neal. And that whole plot on that one is it's a grifters and their father-daughter team doing grifts along throughout the entire story. And this is similar, except for it's Robert Redford, and he's doing grifts with Paul Newman. So he's like a young grifter who's learning from the king grifter.
Yeah.
And they're like con men. And this is pretty cool, too, because there's a lot of, we're doing this grift on this person. And you know it's a grift on screen because that's what the whole plot synopsis is. Mm-hmm. And you're thinking, how do they do it? How are they pulling this off? And who's the mark? Because at the beginning, you don't know who the mark is. You're like, I'm assuming Robert Redford's the con man, but there's two other guys involved. And are both of them marks? Is one of them a mark? Are two of them in on it? Mm-hmm. I don't know how they pulled it off. And the way it unfolds through a number of these cons is pretty fun. And this is really accessible. It's streaming on Netflix. It's from 1973. Mm-hmm. And the genre is crime, music, and musical comedy drama. It's not a musical, but it's like a period piece. It's set in the 20s or the 30s or something like that. Mm-hmm. And they have a lot of that ragtime piano playing throughout, so it feels like a Laurel and Hardy movie or like almost a silent film cartoon but there is dialogue and stuff involved. If you know what I'm talking about, there's
I can understand
that high energy sort of cartoonish, which was the worst part of it for me. Mm-hmm. I'm watching it and I'm like, this soundtrack stinks. It feels like I'm watching, I don't know, you're watching this cool movie that has these modern sensibilities to it and has all these fun grifts and whatnot. And there's a legitimately tense scene in a poker game that you're like, I love watching poker games in movies. I don't know what about it is. Rounders, objectively not a great movie, but is so fun. Yeah. And it has multiple poker scenes that are so fucking fun to watch. And I've seen that movie probably 4 times, and I know what's going to happen each one, and I'm like on the edge of my seat. Each hand, I'm like, oh my God, he got the 7 of clubs. Oh, what's he going to do next? And you know where a lot of these things are going because just the style and the flow of modern scripts, you expect what the next step is. I was watching this poker scene between Paul Newman and their mark, and I had no idea what was going to happen. Yeah. And when it happens, you're like, what the fuck? How's that possible? There's a lot of really cool twists and turns to this. The sound design and the soundtrack is pretty bad. Oh. Just for me, I think a lot of people would like it, but it took me out of it quite a bit. I'd probably give this like a B+ or something like that. And it's, again, The Sting from 1973, streaming on Netflix. I have an anti-streaming pick.
Oh, no.
That Tyler's not going to be happy about this at all. Oh. I watched 1994's The Crow. Oh my God, this movie stinks.
Really?
Oh my, no, it's not good. It is not good.
Like it was unenjoyable. Like you were hoping it would end as soon as possible. Like I'm not sure.
All of those things, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like it's I don't know. It's like every scene is and this could be a benefit, but every scene is a vibe with no direction. So it's, in a video game you have an NPC, and in Skyrim they have nonsensical conversation that's very clear dialogue that you can hear.
Yeah.
They're saying, a dragon entered our village. Oh, good, you're here to help us.
Just very stilted dialogue.
My daughter is sick. Do you have medicine for her? And it's just shitty dialogue or whatever. But in the olden days, they're just like, and then you get close to them and go, and they start punching each other.
Yeah.
It's a lot of that. So a lot of the characters, they're just like, it smash cut to the bad guys in their bad guy lair, and they're doing things like swallowing bullets. He's like, hey, look at this. And he like lights his tongue on fire and he goes, what about this though? And he like swallows a bullet. And the other two guys are standing around like, yeah, dude, you should get it. And I'm like, is this what these bad guys are doing in their free time?
Yeah, they're bad guys.
This is what they're doing in their free time?
I haven't seen that movie in like over a decade, so I'm not saying I don't like your take on it because it probably is probably not great.
I like this movie because I like watched it when I was young, and so there's a nostalgia factor, and like my it was like my brother's era movie, older brother's
That's
era
fair.
movie. It is very cringy.
Yeah, that's the word.
Like
that's the word I was looking for.
The Crow himself, like I think the character is cool, but like the performance of Brandon Lee's performance in it is very cringy.
You died for this?
I wasn't gonna say it, but thanks, Tyler.
He looks like like a black metal.
Like Lords of Chaos.
Yeah, it looks badass.
But then he plays like this music that isn't that.
Oh, yeah, it's like
the industrial, like
pre-nu metal.
Yeah, the industrial.
If this was
metal.
made 5 years later, Limp Bizkit would be on the soundtrack.
I think this movie would do really well in a remake with the right right people behind it.
Skarsgård's gonna play. He's playing Eric Draven, by the way. Cool name. Cool name in a vacuum. Cool name in a vacuum. But it's right there. Call him the Raven. You can
Eric Crow.
Eric Crow or something.
Because everyone knows that ravens are superior to crows. Crows are cool because they're.
I think crows are smarter.
No, ravens are smarter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought the crows were the smart ones.
No, the crows are smart, but they have a badass name for their groups. They call them murders.
A murder, yeah. This is for sure a precursor, and I know it's not there. It's like this overlapping timelines, but his character, the way he portrays him, is like the Joker. He's like an insane Joker. Like he jumps on a table and is like twisting his head around and you're gonna pay for your sins. And the guys are like, ooh, I'm gonna put a hole in you, man. And he shoots a hole through the guy's hand, and it's clear that the crow feels pain because he screams like he's gonna die. But then he like maniacally laughs as the hole in his hand forms back in the really rough CGI.
Yeah.
I gotta read that.
Totally fine.
There's moments in the movie where the final sword fight or whatever in the top of the church, and he's 13 hours of pain just for you. There's some really cool moments in the movie like that.
I will say that. Yeah, there's a lot of cool moments.
But it is surrounded by cringy.
It's like
dialogue.
It's like 30 music videos smashed together,
like early Hot Topic days.
For sure. Yeah.
Oh my god.
And there's one specific scene where he's getting ready to avenge one of the bad guys. And he's got an electric guitar, which he found somewhere from the pawn shop or something.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, this fits my aesthetic. So he like goes into the next kill with the electric guitar, not plugged into anything. And he runs across the room and goes as he's running at him, but it's not plugged into anything. So you just hear the dead guitar strings strumming with no chord being played.
Yeah.
And he's, does that scare you? It should. And you're like, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah.
People were watching this and basing their entire personalities around this.
Look, it was the early 90s. They didn't have much else to go off of.
I know. I guarantee you when the filmmakers were making this, they're like, fuck, this is cool. I know. I don't know what a juggalo is. It doesn't exist yet, but the juggalos are going to love this shit.
I think, yeah,
it's going to be a religion.
Yeah, I think like they had merchandising on their mind when they were making this
13-year-old edgelords are going to sop this shit right up.
Yeah. Oh, and we did.
Yeah.
Oh my God, and we did.
Yeah, it is absolutely worth watching.
I want to revisit that.
I'm shitting all over this movie, and for good reason. But it is a very
for good reason.
It's very fun to watch it and be like, this was considered like a cultural phenomenon at the time.
It was.
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
So it's streaming on The Crow is streaming on Amazon Prime, Paramount Plus, MGM, Hoopla, and Fubo. And the whole time we're watching this, me and Brianna are like, I could see Skarsgård doing this. I think I could see Skarsgård in this role. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, I think
Jason Momoa, they were making The Crow, and then it was canceled.
I think production is not. I don't know if it's not wrapped or it's in post right now, but it's coming out soonish.
That's going to be an interesting.
I hope so.
All right, and then lastly, the last thing I watched, just because it was so weird, I got to talk about it. Is called Landscape with Invisible Hand from 2023. Came out last year. It's now streaming on Amazon Prime. And the plot of this is there's a more or less benevolent alien overtaking of Earth.
Mm-hmm.
First contact gets made in something like 2031 or something like that. And they come to Earth and you're flash forward to full assimilation. We're living in the future of there's full assimilation. And the alien race, they're called VUV, V-U-V-V.
Mm-hmm.
And they've taken over almost every aspect of our human culture and our human life.
Yeah.
They are ultra rich. They pay humans to basically slave for them, be their assistants and their taxi drivers and whatnot, up on their floating mega cities above Earth.
Yeah. But it's not like a violent takeover or anything.
No, it's just more or less friendly takeover.
It's like a bureaucratic takeover.
But it's like a silent deterioration of our entire society through financial collapse because no one can have jobs anymore because the VUV pay so much up there that if you don't work for the VUV, you're basically a fucking fool.
Yeah.
So there's one scene where they have to go up to the alien mega city for a meeting with one of these aliens, and the golf cart takes them from like the station out to the VUV's house.
Yeah.
And the guy driving the golf cart, they're making small talk, and there's two humans in the back and the human driving it, and he's, yeah, so you work up here, huh? How do you like it? Oh, it's pretty good. Back home, I was a neurosurgeon.
Oh, God.
And he goes, really?
That's depressing.
I know. And he goes, why did you stop that? Are there not enough rich humans up here to perform your neurosurgery? And the guy stops and goes, I make 5 times more here than I did on my best year as a neurosurgeon driving this golf cart.
Oh, my God.
And so so if you can get that kind of money up there, why would you slave down here as a human
Makes
making
sense.
teacher wages?
Yeah.
And they have these nodes that attach, they're like these little mechanical devices attached to the human's temples that receive data from the VUV. And they're like, and they send them food. It's pre-made food. It's cellular generated, like beef and cellular generated cube food that resembles broccoli or resembles whatever.
So they're just like pets at this point.
They're pets that own us. We are the pets now.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like they're like humans are pets.
Correct. So I won't get into the whole plot of it because if that sounds interesting to you, and it's for sure a comedy, and it's for sure an absurdist look at societal like forays. It talks about class warfare. It talks about purpose in life, rich versus the poor, generational trauma, this sort of stuff. But really, it's a big commentary on live streaming culture, like Twitch culture, and adjusting who you are based off of your internet presence,
like vlogging and stuff like that.
Correct. Yeah,
kind of what we're doing right now.
I know. So it's who are you on camera versus who are you in real life.
Yeah, Tyler.
What is that supposed to mean?
That's right. I want to see the real Tyler.
You don't.
Show us the real Tyler.
We like real Tyler.
No, you don't.
I don't want Dave Tyler Damashek. No. So, anyways, it's an crazy satire that came and went. Nobody knows anything about it. And the name, well, it does tell you what the name means, but it does make you think for it.
Say the name again.
Landscape with Invisible Hand.
Okay.
Landscape with Invisible.
That's not even a sentence.
No, it's not.
That sounds like a really interesting premise.
It's super weird. And Lakeith Stanfield. What is the guy's name? He plays Chidi in The Good Place. I can never remember that actor's name.
Oh,
He makes like he's a very quick appearance. It stars Asante Black, Kylie Rogers, Tiffany Haddish, Brooklyn McKenzie, Josh Hamilton, Michael Gandolfini, Josh Newberg, and
Michael Gandolfini.
Yeah, I don't know if he's any relation or not.
Okay.
And there's a weird way you can tell that the people are working for the Vuv is that they shave their eyebrows off because the Vuvs say that's what's chic to them. And the humans sometimes will cover their body with this slime to look more like the Vuv because that's attractive to them.
That sounds very absurd.
Yeah, you'll see somebody and with no eyebrows, and you're like, oh yeah, he works for them.
Yeah.
Super weird.
Interesting.
Anyway, so absolutely worth your time if you want to see something that you've never seen before and laugh and question what the fuck am I watching. That's called Landscape with Invisible Ham, streaming on Amazon Prime.
Okay, and that's all you got?
That's it.
All right. So I have quite a few.
Tyler.
Oh, sorry. Tyler.
I forgot. Oh, am I not?
I forgot that you watch movies.
There's a thing to your right that wants to talk.
All right. Spit it out.
There's a beard with a body under it over there.
Spit it out.
I apologize.
How dare you? No, I did actually watch. I revisited a movie, Midsommar, directed by Ari Aster, because I only saw the movie once, and it was quite some time ago. This was
2019.
Yeah, it was 2019. And I remember being a little bit let down just because Ari Aster directed probably one of the best movies next to The Exorcist, Hereditary.
Yeah.
And so I equated it to True Detective season 1 because how can you top that? How it was just perfection. Hereditary, I thought, was just a perfect movie. And going into Midsommar, your expectations are just astronomically high.
Sure.
And when I went into Midsommar, I was disappointed, but that was only because of my recency bias of watching Hereditary. Stars Florence Pugh, Jack Rayner. We got Willem Blomgren.
I wouldn't worry about the cast too much.
All right, that's fine because
Florence Pugh's the big draw.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's fine because Florence Pugh is the only one that I really give a good goddamn about.
And the guy in that one who's writing the paper that her boyfriend steals from is the guy I can't remember his name, Chidi from The Good Place.
Oh Jesus, yeah, I'm not
And
gonna.
Farley from Saltburn.
I'm not gonna even.
He's the guy
He's the guy from London.
Filleted.
He gets angel backed or whatever.
Yeah.
So Danny, who's Florence Pugh's character, and Christian, who is the boyfriend. They're a young American couple with a relationship on the brink of falling apart, but after a family tragedy keeps them together, Christian invites a grieving Danny to join him and his friends on a trip to a once-in-a-lifetime midsummer festival in a remote Swedish village. And so anyone who hasn't seen this movie, you're going to be shocked like within the first 25 minutes because when I was watching it,
The opening scene is an all-time great opening scenes.
I was completely surprised.
Could be the best scene in the whole movie, to be honest. The sequence, I should say.
Yeah, I would.
It's at least arguable.
You know what? I agree with you on that because it was it. So what this movie does for me, what
you were like, you were ready to say something, and then you like change course. I could see the synapses forming in your brain as you're speaking.
I'm going to this word. I'm going to that word.
You know what? We'll come back to that, or we won't. That's fine.
So what this movie does really well for me is that what Ari Aster did in his direction in the beginning sequence is it gut punches you into not necessarily it's like what grief could be personified as on screen.
Oh, now because I'm really depressed.
Yeah. It is a great showing of grief. And it's a fantastic breakup movie too.
It is. And I think that the unfortunate part of this whole of the relationship between Danny and Christian is that they were already on the edge of breaking up, and then this horrific thing happens, and so now Christian feels pressure to I still care about this woman, even though I don't want to be in a relationship with her, but I have to be there for her. And it's like this weird throughout the whole movie, it's like this weird sort of pressure to like stay with a person that you don't want to stay with.
It's a real Costanza situation.
I was just gonna say it feels like a Larry Curb Your Enthusiasm bit where he's gonna break up with his girlfriend and then she finds out she's got Parkinson's or something.
George gets Susan fired from NBC and I was gonna break up with her. You can't break up with her now. You got her fired.
Once they get to, I really felt bad for Danny because it felt like she was being rejected, and that's like the whole like point of the movie is that she gets rejected constantly through her social circle, and then she finally finds a group of people that are willing to accept her. And
never mind that it's a cult; it's fine.
Yeah. So, well, I was going to get to
neither
that.
here nor there.
I was going to get to that point too, and. So
sometimes it feels good to be part of a cult. That's why people are in cults.
Oh yeah,
that's what the Juggalos are all about. Again, all comes back to the Juggalos.
Oh,
you have more fun as a follower, but you make more money as a leader.
That's true. And you have more sex as a leader too.
But after watching it, I think I was disappointed after the first time watching it in the movie theaters, and then revisiting it now, I can see like this is a really incredible movie because Ari Aster, with Hereditary, it was a lot more horror-like, dealing with demons and hauntings and stuff like that. But with Midsommar, it was very much of a character study, and it made you question are you going to be on Danny's side when she decides to join the cult and watch her ex-boyfriend burn alive?
Hey man, that's called body autonomy. She can do whatever she wants.
Okay, I don't know if I agree with that assessment, but
the Christian burning alive in the Triangle House is basically the trolley experiment. She didn't start the trolley.
No,
she just has to make a decision one way or the other.
Yeah.
Are you blaming the guy at the lever? Or are you blaming the person
That's exactly what I
started this unhinged trolley?
It's a movie where at the end of the movie you go, good for her.
Yeah.
See, that's what I was thinking too, because at the end of my first watching of the movie, I was definitely on her side. I was like, oh my God, yeah, you know what? Go girl. Like you
fuck that dickhead.
But then
let him burn.
Yeah, he forgot your birthday.
But after
put him in the bear carcass.
That's death worthy.
But after the second watching, which was fairly recent, I thought to myself, this is how cults get to you. Like,
when you say fairly recent, what do you mean by that?
Fairly recent. Within the last week?
6 months ago?
No, it was on Wednesday.
Okay.
Wednesday. I had to think about it. Sorry.
Where's it streaming, Tyler?
Wrap
this thing up.
Yeah, this is streaming on Amazon Prime, and it's a very great movie, and it's a long watch. And as everyone knows, I don't like watching long movies, but this movie felt like the correct length for the story that it was telling, and I did not feel the need to be distracted by anything. And so
Bruce couldn't get the bear cage. They had sold the limited edition like bear cage from A24 memorabilia with this like a little wooden cage with a bear inside. So he made one. Him and his son made one together.
Oh, nice. Wow. That's awesome.
He showed his progress on it online. I was like, that's freaking cool.
Yeah, that's really awesome. But anyways, and then also, if you follow me on Facebook, I've been posting reviews of the new True Detective season 4. So check that out. Tyler, Knowy.
Friend him on Facebook.
Yeah. Add Tyler on Facebook. Tyler Noe with Knowy.
Knowy. Yes. Thank you. But that's it.
Okay.
I like Tyler's post because there's no punctuation. It's one long run-on sentence.
Wait, is it?
No capitals. There's pictures. It's like Charlie Day writing something. No, always sunny. It's kind of
like I don't like that at all.
It's like how he talks.
Yeah. Tyler's got a lot of ellipses when he's talking, but when he's typing, it's start to finish. Start to finish, baby. Strap in. Where will it end?
Okay, so that's it. Midsommar for you.
Yes.
All right.
Streaming on Amazon.
Streaming on Amazon Prime. All right, I'm going to start off with 2 anti-stream pages.
Oh, hell yeah. Sweet. Love the antis.
First one, lowest rated one of the 2. This is Cyborg. Streaming on Max. It's a Jean-Claude Van Damme post-apocalyptic movie. And it's a movie called Cyborg, but for a movie called Cyborg, there's barely a cyborg in the movie. There's a cyborg in the beginning, maybe a little bit in the middle, and then at the end. And like it doesn't really matter too much for the rest of the story because we're mainly following Jean-Claude Van Damme, who is like he's what they call a slinger in this world. And
I was a slinger in college.
it's basically just like someone just, I don't know, transporting someone to one side of the state to the other. And in this case, the cyborg is trying to get to Atlanta because she contains or she is trying to retrieve data that will end the plague and fix the world.
So Van Damme is not the cyborg. It's a woman.
Van
who's
Damme
a
is
cyborg?
not the cyborg. He's just some fucking guy who gets caught in the middle of it. And then there are pirates in this movie. At first, I thought it was a joke that I made. And I was like, they look like pirates. And then it ends up they are pirates. Pirates in Atlanta.
That's funny.
And pirates in Georgia. And there's...
It's a great indie band.
They really... Slingborg. Nice, Bruce. They really like...
I like the way you talk, boy.
They really restrain Van Damme in this movie. He only does the splits once.
Oh, that's some bullshit.
And he barely has any dialogue, and there's really not a lot of action in this movie.
I thought it's in his contract that he does the splits at least 3 times per movie.
I was gonna say, I like that's how your grievance is.
Yeah.
Is that he only does the splits once.
Now, I will say it's a really great shot when they reveal that he's in the splits position because he's essentially between two large walls, like a really thin alleyway, and he's got a knife holding up like this, and then the bad guy pirate is like underneath him, and
this is an anti-streaming
he
trick?
slowly looks up, and then he just screams, and then he stabs him in the face.
Much like Joe Black says, they got access to an animatronic skunk. Yeah. You work with what you got.
Yeah.
You got Van Damme, you're putting the splits in the script.
As fun as that sounds, but it's really not. It's really not that good. It's not worth your time.
Okay.
Because it all ends up he gets crucified at one point.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And there's this ridiculous fight scene with a Mortal Kombat Goro. It's Goro
wonderful.
with 2 arms only. So it's just a guy who looks like he could play Goro.
Oh.
And he's just making this grunting sound the whole time. He's like, "Ugh,"
Oh, okay.
like a Ludo from Labyrinth.
Smell bad.
Yeah, it's not good.
All
Not
right,
good.
cool.
Don't watch it. Second anti-stream pick, streaming on Hulu if you're interested, is The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then the Bigfoot.
Oh yeah.
This is a Sam Elliott-led movie. Sam Elliott is the man who killed Hitler, and then he is tasked with killing Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And this movie is not good. It is not for a movie called The Man Who Killed Hitler and then Bigfoot. There's very little Bigfoot in the movie.
Is it so based off of that name, I'm not expecting something great. Is it worse than you expected?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's worse, and it's worse because it's boring. And because it's not Sam Elliott from Roadhouse. This is old man Sam Elliott, who is like a retired World War II assassin. And you'd think you'd be having some fun with a movie like this.
Yeah.
But you're really not. It spends too much time building up to like, when's a Sasquatch going to come in or when's a Bigfoot going to come in? And it comes in at the last 30 minutes and you barely even see it.
Oh man, it's Cloverfield all over again.
Oh god. Yeah.
That's a movie is much better than this one. 2/3 of this movie is a lot of telling and no showing of anything. A lot of talking. There's a lot of flashbacks intermittently to like when he was young and on his Hitler's killing days. But there's no build up to hunting Bigfoot because it's like it's the man who killed Hitler and then Bigfoot. So like he has this history. You killed Hitler, so now you should be able to kill Bigfoot, right?
Oh, I got it. He's like Van Helsing.
Yeah, I guess. Monster Hunter. But yeah, there's no like it literally just cuts to him. He found him. Like he found Bigfoot.
Wonderful.
What?
It's
that's so disappointing.
it hard cuts to him shooting Bigfoot and then Bigfoot running away.
Okay.
There's no like he's not like tracking him or any of that. It just cuts to him and it's like that's it.
Was he even hired to kill Bigfoot, or did he just see Bigfoot and he had bloodlust?
No,
and
he gets
shot to
he
kill?
gets hired by the FBI to kill Bigfoot because Bigfoot is carrying a disease that could transfer to humans and start a worldwide pandemic.
Okay.
Which is another weird plot.
Yeah. Interesting.
So they're not killing Bigfoot because they want to experiment on him. They want to kill him because he's a potential threat to the humanity.
I didn't know that J. Edgar Hoover had anything against Bigfoot, but here we are.
Yeah. You could skip that. It's really not that good.
Done and done.
But so quite a few movies. I'll power through these. Cocaine Bear. Watch that on Prime. That was pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
I like the kills. The kills are very bloody and violent.
Yeah.
It felt like maybe there was a little bit too serious, like played a little too seriously a little bit.
It was based on a very tragic event.
This was a very embellished version of that.
Yeah.
The ambulance scene is one of the best, funniest,
Yes,
insane scenes of last
100%.
year.
So there's quite a few insane scenes in the movie, but in between those scenes, it's a little lackluster.
Yeah.
But still worth a watch, I think. Amazon Prime. I watched Venom streaming on Disney Plus.
Oh, cool.
Of all places, Venom, a Sony product.
They're eating them. They're bastardizing their young.
And this movie was a lot better than I expected, honestly. And I wasn't expecting much.
Nice.
Tom Hardy plays a good Eddie Brock guy who's he's a journalist trying to uncover Riz Ahmed's corporate conspiracy, essentially. And then he gets tangled in with the symbiote. Venom becomes a part of her personality, talks to him. Venom is honestly the funniest part of the movie.
Venom is awesome. I love Venom.
He's got some really interesting dialogue. There's a part where he's talking to him, and Venom is, I'm actually going to stay here on this planet because I'm like a loser like you on my planet.
That's funny.
But yeah, that's worth a watch for sure. And that's on Disney Plus.
Oh, okay. Ruben Fleischer directed that, director of Zombieland.
Yeah. I caught up with When Evil Lurks, streaming on Shudder, a Argentinian horror post-apocalyptic possession movie, which is a very unique way to tell a possession movie. And this is also a very violent, very gross movie.
Super gross.
And how by the end of it, after reading into it a little bit more, the main character, biggest fumble.
Fucking loser.
Biggest fumble in quite a while.
Fumbled the whole thing. He fumbled it all.
But not just him. It's literally just like a movie. Essentially, the result of this movie is because none of them listened to the woman in their lives.
Yeah. This is the real feminist movement.
It's men
Move over Barbie.
Women stupid. Women smart, men stupid in this movie. And that's streaming on Shudder. And there are a lot of great practical effects and a very dark story. I didn't expect to see a suicide by axe.
Yeah.
Suicide by axe.
Yeah, just imagine
Wow.
how that would go down.
Try to picture it. But
I will.
That's worth a watch for sure. Streaming on Shudder. I caught up with Destroy All Neighbors, also streaming on Shudder.
Oh, cool.
And I didn't realize Jonah Ray was so tall.
Yeah.
First
He's
of
a
all.
big dude. How'd you like that one?
And it was overall, I think it was pretty fun. It was definitely like campy. I found it mostly stupid and pretty funny. 55% stupid and 45% funny.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
I like the use of the practical effects, like the really campy practical effects. But I felt like some of the jokes was a little too jokey, I think.
Like puns or something like that?
No, I can't remember any specific examples, but I remember just feeling like this feels like it was more like in the dialogue.
I see.
It was a frustrating movie though, because we're following a character who is being annoyed by a really loud neighbor, and you have someone else who doesn't think it's annoying.
Yeah.
And that would be so frustrating to me. Like, how is this not bothering you?
Yeah. It's relatable. Just leave it alone.
Yeah. And it felt a little Psycho Gorman-esque in the practical effects and a little bit of the tone. I didn't love it, but I definitely did not hate it. And it's definitely
I freaking love this one. I thought I had such a fun time with it.
Yeah, it's good. What I felt about it was that like it's like when you're taking a bite of something and it's like it tastes good, but maybe it's a bit too spicy and you think I can handle it, but then you keep eating and it's just really spicy. It was like before you realize it, this might have been a mistake.
Yeah.
Not that the movie is a mistake, but that's just the
the feeling.
I've definitely felt that before.
Maybe that's why I like it, because I can't tell you how many times me and Brianna have been eating sushi and she's looking over at me. Do you like wasabi or not? Because you're crying right now. And I'm like, it's really good.
Your
I like
face
it.
is
It's
all
good.
red and
Yeah, I know.
teary.
Yeah.
That's more, please. Can I get more wasabi?
I watched The Flash. That was better than I expected.
Is that the one with the who was it?
The Flash, the movie The Flash.
No, the actor who plays the Flash.
Ezra Miller.
Ezra Miller, yeah, that's right.
And that, a lot better than I expected. CGI was terrible, but whether it was intentional or not, it was still terrible.
Yeah.
It was reminiscent of Mr. Smith, the clones of Mr. Smith and Neo. Park scene from Matrix, Matrix Reloaded.
Oh no.
Affleck on the bike was one of the worst CGI I'd seen all year.
Yeah. A little bit too long, definitely. And there was it has a really weird opening scene with the babies. Who puts a nursery on the top floor?
Yeah.
of a high rise.
Hey, man, gotta do what you gotta do. Manifest destiny, right?
Manifest destiny.
But yeah, it was entertaining. Very entertaining. I think if it wasn't a comic book movie and more of an indie sci-fi, because the end of the movie between the flat Barry and his mom in the grocery store, that's emotional.
I cried.
And I feel like if this was
I cried at the Flash.
If this wasn't like the big budget DC comic book movie it was, I feel like that story would fit really well in indie sci-fi.
Unfairly hated, in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah, people like decided to hate on it for no reason. And granted, Ezra Miller, terrible person by all accounts.
Yeah.
Allegedly. But I thought the movie was fun. I thought I had a great time with it.
Yeah. I wish Supergirl was in it more.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah,
She was great.
She was really good. Really underutilized.
I wanted her to punch me. Please, will you please insult me? Say something bad about me.
Flash is streaming on Max and Prime.
Oh, cool.
Right now. Caught up with Maestro, Netflix. Bradley Cooper really wants that Oscar. Like,
no shit.
Like really bad. Like super bad. I think that Carey Mulligan definitely outshined him in this movie. Lady Gaga and A Star Is Born.
Oh yeah.
Which I don't like that movie very much.
Stars Born?
Yeah.
Oh really? I
don't
loved it.
No. That one also screams a little bit more like Oscar bait than this movie. But they're both definitely trying to do something here.
Mm-hmm.
The music, really good.
Yeah.
Just overall throughout the whole movie. The cinematography and editing were very tight.
Yeah,
very good.
Looked good.
I actually did find his personal life pretty compelling. And I think we've seen similar stories of like famous people like this, Bohemian Rhapsody, Elvis, Beyond the Sea, Ray. And I think this is just like an appropriate addition to that collection of movies. The not so good of this movie, he really wants that Oscar and he wants it bad. And unfortunately, it shows in this movie and it loses.
What do you mean? Like in what way?
He's just really trying. You can just, when you're watching the movie, you can definitely tell that he's begging for that Oscar.
What was that movie where he was a chef?
Burnt.
Oh, Burnt.
That's Jon Favreau.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
I was like, what? I can't remember.
Burnt.
He played a chef.
I liked him in that. That was pretty good.
I thought that was Oscar worthy. He did not feel like he was trying hard in that one.
There's a phrase in when I used to play football back in the day, when if you were score a touchdown or something like that, and you were over celebrating, the coach would say, "Act like you've been there before." It can't seem like it's a big deal to you. That's what it feels like with Bradley in this. It's this is gonna be this shot right here. This is gonna be the Oscar shot. And then they send out a new press media coverage about I practiced for 6 years to get this shot.
Yeah.
Okay, bro.
I think that this movie would have been a lot better if Cooper didn't direct and act in it.
Yeah.
I think if you did
he's the director. Wow.
I think if you did one or the other, it would have been a much stronger because it just really feels like Oscar bait. Because I'm directing this movie that I think is going to win an Oscar. I'm going to put myself in it to increase my chances, maybe.
Yeah. Writer, director, producer, star.
And that feeling is very heavy in the first third of the movie. And for a second, it felt like a Tropic Thunder Oscar movie.
Yeah.
And it really, in the first third of the movie, the black and white and like the sort of like borderline music numbers, like musical numbers, it really felt like he was trying to do his own version of La La Land.
Yeah.
Like the moving cameras and like the dancing on the stage and stuff. They just put it in the context of where you would watch a musical and like an old Hollywood movie. It's lit and blocked like an old Hollywood movie in the first third of the movie.
It felt to me like he was mimicking like a Paul Thomas Anderson, like long cut.
Yeah, maybe.
With like music going in between.
That, I mean, speaking of long takes, the church scene, really good. Really,
yeah.
That just slow pan in or a dolly into him doing his thing.
Yeah.
6 years of work.
Sweating.
And he's sweating.
Sweat.
Really good. And the music is also really good.
Yeah.
The last third of the movie was probably the best part
I agree with that.
of this whole thing. And it was sad. It got sad. So yeah, I think that's worth a watch. I don't think it's going to win anything, but
I'm glad I watched it, but at the end of it, I was like, eh.
Let's see. I'm going to skip some of these. Self-Reliance. Caught up with Self-Reliance on Hulu.
Oh, cool.
That was fun.
Yeah.
That was a pretty fun movie.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
I didn't realize it was basically a Lonely Island production because you have Akiva Schaffer and Andy Samberg producing it.
Yeah.
And when I found out James's real name, like actor name, Biff Whiff.
What a name.
That name, I couldn't Pick a better name.
Yeah, Biff Whiff.
If with
But yeah, overall, pretty entertaining, pretty fun movie. Streaming on Hulu. The Stranger, slow burn crime thriller with Joel Edgerton and Sean Harris, based on a true story, streaming on Netflix.
That's so funny you say that. What year did that come out?
2022.
'Cause I was looking up a different The Stranger from like 1995, and I saw that pop up today, literally this morning, right before we started rolling.
Yeah, very slow burn, incredibly slow, the slowest burn.
oh wow,
It's only an hour and a half, feels a little bit longer. It was a distraction at some point. It's pretty eerie, creepy. Essentially, it's like Sean Harris is like a suspect in a missing, like a long-standing missing persons investigation who's never been charged, and Joel Edgerton is part of an undercover investigation trying to essentially pin him as the person who committed that crime. And Sean Harris plays a really weird character in this movie, as he does in most other movies.
I thought you were going to say that Sean Harris was the suspect and they got Joel Edgerton again because they look the same.
There is, I mean, if you look at the poster of the movie, they do a mashup of the two.
Side by side?
Yeah. And there's a scene in the movie where they do it with some visual effects with that.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think it's worth a watch, but just know it's very slow.
Oh, damn, that poster is literally them.
Yeah.
Side by side. That's funny.
The Passenger, streaming on Prime.
Oh, hell yeah.
That was very tense.
I fucking love that
Very tense movie. Great acting from both of those guys. And that guy who is basically taking this other guy on one of the worst ways to teach a lesson.
Yeah.
By murdering people. That guy's got hipster rage.
Yeah.
He's got like this cardigan that's like furry.
Green fuzzy.
Lime green fuzzy cardigan. And he's got like this sort of mullet thing going on.
Yeah. It's Kyle Gallner, the actor.
Yeah. He's unpredictable. The one thing I didn't like about it is that I wish we got more about why he's doing what he's doing, or just more about him.
Yeah, he
and
just
his
like
story.
decides to one day.
Yeah, we only get like a really brief glimpse into his personal life when we go to his house in that one scene.
That long, uncut
Yeah.
bit where Johnny Berchtold is at the end of the hallway, like
on the phone. He said not to touch anything.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I like that movie because it lingers on shots that you shouldn't normally linger on. It's just him standing in a hallway uncomfortable in someone else's house for hella long.
I know. That guy, he looked like he was about to cry at any second. The whole movie. It's a ball of anxiety and insecurity, and it is the two of them together, and then, yeah, it was really tense.
I figured you'd enjoy the cinematography in that because
it looks good.
The director is a fashion photographer, so I'm sure those choices of their wardrobe was very deliberate. Mm-hmm. And the framing of the shot looked like art pieces in a lot of ways.
Yeah. The blood and the effects of that was...
Yeah.
It felt like I was watching someone get killed.
I'm so glad you watched this movie because I don't think enough people saw this movie last year. It's one of my top 10.
Yeah, Passenger,
so
that's
good.
On Prime.
Yeah.
And then finally, not streaming anywhere, only in theaters at the moment, I caught up with Poor Things.
Oh, cool.
I saw Poor Things, and
I had no idea.
I am a changed man.
You're a changed man. Holy God.
It is so funny. It is such a funny movie.
It's a funny movie.
I saw you walking with a different swagger when you came in today.
Yeah.
I thought I wasn't sure what it was.
He had a little bit of pep in his step.
Yeah.
It was so funny. I had no idea that Mark Ruffalo was this good.
He's so good.
And he plays such an asshole creep in this movie.
Oh, interesting.
That it was like, is he an asshole creep? But it's so over the top. He's got this ridiculous accent, like almost like rich person British accent.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Emma Stone is hilarious. I don't know if you guys know too much about the story, or if you want to know.
I
knew about it.
vaguely familiar with it. I actually wanted to check it out, but I just hadn't had.
You told us in your group chat you were going to.
Yeah.
Yes. And this is the movie. This is the movie I went and saw alone, and yeah. There is a lot of sex in this movie.
Oh, really?
A lot.
I didn't realize how horny it was. I heard some people say it was horny, but I didn't know it was like that.
Emma Stone is very horny in this movie.
Cool. Comparisons to Frankenhooker. Is it valid?
Not really.
Does Patty Mullen?
It's more about, it's totally different story, and I guess the performance between the two of Frankenhooker and Bella Baxter.
Mm-hmm.
That's her name, Bella Baxter.
It's a cool name.
It's more maybe there's some like homages to that character.
Oh my God.
But it's not like a ripoff or anything.
No, it's more inspired by.
Yeah.
At least that's what I heard.
And it's like Frankenstein, but Willem Dafoe is more of a Frankenstein than Bill Baxter.
She would be the Frankenstein's monster.
I guess so, but I guess more in the sense that she's not put together like Frankenstein or Frankenstein's monster.
Gotcha. Okay.
Willem Dafoe is the monster.
Okay. How was his rat scene? The famous rat scene. Was it good? Or is that in Nosferatu?
That's a Nosferatu.
Yeah, that's
my
a
bad. I was like,
Nosferatu.
I don't remember any rats.
You know what? Every movie.
Only Mark Ruffalo.
Every other movie has Willem Dafoe in it, so I can't keep track.
But yeah, I don't know if you want me to get into any plot details about like.
I think I'm gonna go try to see it. I don't know. I really want to see it. Maybe
Yeah,
not.
it honestly rivals Barbie in terms of pro-woman feminist themes.
Oh hell
Wow.
Yeah, in my opinion.
You're not the first person I've heard say that either.
It just goes about it in a very crude way.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah, everyone set design looks like box trolls, like a Leica set come to life, or like a BioShock Infinite.
That's cool.
Alexandria. There actually is even a place called Alexandria in the movie.
Cool.
But yeah, it's really. I was like laughing the whole time. It was so funny.
So it's a comedy. It's not meant to be taken seriously.
It's a how I described it, I think, is like take something silly like Monty Python.
Yeah.
Take something silly and play it serious.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And that's like in the world that it's in.
Okay.
Because it is ridiculous, but there's something to be said about this movie. It is hilarious.
Yorgos writes on another level. Like the shit that he's got, the layers of subtext are deeper than I don't think any of us will ever be able to fully unpack. But it was pretty accessible as far as the writing goes.
Yeah, it's not like The Lobster at all.
I was gonna say, he likes to keep his audience at arm's length a little bit. Don't get too close because I don't want you to fully understand this shit.
As far as I know, The Lobster is not based on anything, is it?
No, I think it's original.
The Favorite and this are both based on books.
Okay.
He has source material that he's taking from, and I think that's why The Favorite is more accessible compared to The Lobster.
Plus Olivia Colman, am I right?
Yeah.
Yowza.
I was like, I laughed with the movie high, so
That's cool. And since you were alone, you could just laugh and laugh.
I could laugh and laugh. Yes.
Just like Tyler when he's around other people in the theater.
Yeah, I really have to restrain myself when I'm in the theater.
We'll get you a ball gag.
I don't think that's necessary, but maybe a Benadryl.
There is one in this movie.
Oh no!
Wow, really horny. Cool, awesome.
But yeah, Poor Things. That's like that's like the
High recommend.
top of everything,
All right,
above
cool.
everything in this movie.
I'm going right after this then.
All right, that's it. Right?
You guys got any other announcements or anything you need to make?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you to our cool ass Yardoties over on Patreon. That's Javier, Heather Sachs, Ryan Corbin, and Chris. And thank you to all of our other Patreon members and subscribers who keep the wheels moving and keep the grease lubed up for this here podcast. We really appreciate you. If you want to support us on the Patreon, hit up patreon.com/middleclassfilmclass. Until next time. Thank you for following us as we gab and chatter, and thank you to Joe Black for joining us to talk about his new movie Suffrage on Amazon Prime. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast, and send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, and follow us on Instagram at Middle Class Film Class and leave us a voicemail, why don't you, at 209-730-6010. We have been having a drought of voicemail, so please call in.
And follow us on Twitter at Podcast MCFC and on TikTok at Middle Class Film Class.
And catch us later on in the week as we review Howard the Duck. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
See ya.
Class dismissed.
I gotta get out of here.
The bell doesn't dismiss you. I dismiss you.
You're free to go.
See you next week.
See you later.
See you later.
That's a wrap.
Great show.